I'd like to welcome you here today and ask you a simple question. How many of these are in your home right now? If you answered yes to even one, then what you probably don't know is hurting you, your family, and the environment. I want to share with you some very important information that many are just not aware of. What I want to discuss today is the Fair Packaging and Labeling Act, why we get sick, cancer rates in America, cautionary principle, and how common household products tie into it all. Most Americans believe that the products purchased at the grocery store are regulated by the government and are safe for us to use, when actually most of these products are regulated by a law that was passed over 50 years ago. This federal law is called the Packaging and Labeling Act of 1966, and there's no requirement for products to be safe. There's no requirement for the manufacturer to list every ingredient in the product, and it simply limits the manufacturer's liability by having them place a warning on the product label. The sad reality is that with the vast increase in many disorders over the last number of years, more and more experts agree that it's the unnecessary toxic chemicals we use in our homes and everyday products that are bombarding our bodies and increasing our risk of sickness and disease. Things like ADD, ADHD, allergies, asthma, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, cancer, and so much more. The harsh truth is that the American Cancer Society has stated that the rise of cancer has gone from 1 in 8,000 people back in the 1910s to 1 in 2 for today. The cancer rates quickly changed after World War I when synthetic chemicals were first introduced into the American household as a way to sell off the huge stockpiles of chlorine that had previously been used as a poisonous gas during the war. This was the era known as the Chemical Age. It ushered in all types of toxic chemicals being introduced to American homes, and it has had serious health consequences. Today, the latest report from the Center of Disease Control reports that 1 out of 2 Americans will be diagnosed with cancer due to the exposure to a wide variety of manufactured chemicals used in our homes that are linked to allergies, birth defects, cancer, and behavioral disorders. The EPA did a 15-year study on women and found that those that were more exposed to cleaning and household products had a 54% higher death rate from cancer. As moms, we work hard to keep our families healthy. We use disinfectant spray to try to protect our children from germs. What I didn't once know is that according to 911, every 30 seconds a child is poisoned in the United States, and that household disinfectants are the leading poison hazard for children. And most people believe that the poisoning that is happening because of chemicals is because they're being ingested or swallowed, when in fact, most poisonings are occurring because of inhalation or absorption through the skin. Sadly, these poisonings are completely avoidable if only they were making a decision to purchase safer products. What's interesting is that the manufacturer Monsanto spent 30 years covering up the fact that Agent Orange was in their very popular Lysol cleaning product. Who knows how many people were harmed by this? What I want to know is, if a product label says precautionary statements, caution, poison, corrosive, danger, or maybe fatal, should it really be in your home? These are all keywords that say these products contain toxic chemicals, and you are increasing your family's risk of sickness and disease by using them. Is it surprising to you that Cascade has a chemical that increases your risk of liver poisoning? Why does Tide still have ingredients in it that have been banned in Europe for years? Ingredients that are known to increase the risk of allergies and asthma. 409 has been a common multi-purpose cleaner for decades. But why does it have phenol in it? That's been linked to cancer. And why does Windex have ingredients that increase our risk of reproductive disorders? It just doesn't make any sense. The government did a study on women's cosmetics and found that many contain heavy metals, including lead and toxic chemicals. Why would a product that is designed to increase attractiveness increase your risk of sickness? But the product that is probably the most disappointing and deceiving is the leading best-selling baby shampoo in the United States, Johnson & Johnson's No More Tears. What makes no sense is that because Europe banned the number of toxic chemicals that could be used in personal care products almost a decade ago, Johnson & Johnson manufactures No More Tears for them without toxic chemicals, but not for us here in the United States. These products also violate the scientific precautionary principle. That is the simple act of taking preventative measures to reduce or avoid potential threats to our health and our environment. If you're somewhat skeptical, I completely understand, because it's not something that's been openly discussed. They don't advertise these things. So don't just take my word for it, do your research and find that what we're saying here is true. Only when we are fully educated will you start to understand why so many of us are struggling and sick today. We hope, if nothing else, we've started you on a path to educating you on things you may not have previously been aware of. I want to thank you so much for your time, and here's to your health.